Alright, we're working on grain trucks today. I just tried making a video of starting the truck because I wasn't 100% sure it was going to start, because it's been sitting up here since I got done cutting wheat. And with the memory function hooked up on the radio, if you let it sit for long periods of time, which it does often, it will draw the battery down enough where it won't start. Which is why this is one of them situations where I need to get a battery cutout switch put on it, because I know what the draw is, short of unhooking the memory function on the radio, which I could do, but it's going to be easier to put a cutout switch on it than it is to be able to tear the dash back apart and unhook that memory function on the radio. So it's one of them deals, if you drove it you know, a few times a week, it wouldn't be a problem at all. But since it gets driven during harvest and then sits for long periods of time, that the memory function on the radio, it's about the same as a ECM on a modern vehicle. If you let them sit for too long, the ECM will pull a battery down. It's a built-in draw, it's there. But she started. Thought I had video of it starting, but turns out I turned the camera on and it locked itself up because GoPro things. And I say that because my old Hero 3 would do the exact same thing. You'd turn it on, you'd think it's recording, then you turn it on, or you go look at it and it's sitting there froze, not doing anything, even though it's on. You'd think by the time they got to the Hero 7 like I got now, they would have figured that shit out, but apparently they have not. But anyway, this was this morning's project. I went down and picked this crap up. I got two 16 by 38 dual rims. One still has an 18.4 mounted on it. When I first got them, I thought I was just gonna dismount this tire and junk it. But the more I got to looking at it, it's like, it's not that bad of a tire, really. And I was thinking, I got that one Firestone on the 4150 it's got like a spider hole in it that you can poke your finger through now, and I'm like, it'd probably make more sense to dismount this, throw it on the 4150 and shit can that junk Firestone than it would to junk this thing. Because if I can get another couple years of running out of the tires that are on the 150 before I got to put $12,000 worth of new ones on it, that would be mint. So I'm gonna, at the very least, get this tire dismounted so that I can get the rims inside, because they're good rims. They've already got the reinforcing ring welded in them for duals. So, and then I got these 66 by 43 by 25 Goodyear Terra tires on rims. Unfortunately, the centers in these are an 8-bolt John Deere combine pattern, because John Deere decided on their combines that they needed to be jackasses with the bolt pattern and not use a standard rims or standard pilot and bolt pattern size. But the rims are good and the tires are okay. They're a little weather checked, but I've seen worse, and they're still holding air, so they got that going for them. Although I am surprised that they're only 6-ply. I figured they'd have been heavier than that for what they are, but that's probably 6 very heavy plies if I had to guess. But these are the same tires that would be on an Oliver front wheel assist if they had the Terra tire option package on them. These would be the rears, obviously. So if you knocked these centers out, got a new center cut and welded new centers in them for a 9-bolt pattern, like a standard, you know, 9-bolt hub, I could, if I ever got a front wheel assist, I could use these and do a Terra tire conversion on it. I'd just have to find a set of fronts. So all this was free. I got a buddy, they're cleaning up their farm because they had to move, because they had to sell out to an industrial park, and these were in their tire pile, and they said, come get them, they're free. And I was like, okay. These were, because I can use this tire and I got 2 good rims out of it, this was probably the best deal of what I got going here. But I saw those and it's like, I don't need them, but they're free. Fuck it. So I had to throw them on the trailer. And they got two 20.8. They were set up for clamp-on duals, but they're double bevel rims with the T-rail welded in them. The tires on them are junk. Well, yeah, the tires are junk. But when I do the 22, as nice as it would be to keep the rears on it because they're spin outs, I really want to put the damn thing up on 20.8 because they look better. So I might go back down there and get those rims, because the rims are good. You just, them T-rails are just tack welded in, so you bust the welds off the T-rails, take the T-rails out, you got a good set of double bevel rims. But I'd have to do some investigating and see if the centers on this thing, which I think they are, yeah, the centers are the same. The only thing that sets them up for the T-rails is the different wedges. So if I got the regular wedges for a standard, for a double bevel rim, I could just put double bevels on it, and I'm sure somebody would want those spin outs for something. So, because the odds of finding 20.8 spin out rims are probably slim to none, but they look better on 20.8s than 18.4s. I don't think 18.4s are nearly enough tire for a tractor that size. So anyway, I'm gonna run this thing down to the shop and change the oil in it, and then we'll do Dad's truck. All right, it's about lunchtime, so I'm gonna get the oil draining in this thing and then go get me some food. This was back when automotive engineers knew what the hell they were doing. Drain plug in the oil pan, straight down. Drain plug in my truck I'm driving now, straight back, pointed at the crossover pipe for the exhaust. Forking idiots. How do you go from this to that? Like you had it. And you didn't have to change anything. The design was there. Okay, we're back. The exhaust is cooled down enough. I don't got to worry about burning my arms. It's the only downside to the... Need to tighten that clamp. Need to tighten both those clamps. That's the only downside to the exhaust location on this for the oil filter. Although originally this wasn't true duals like we got it. It had a crossover pipe going to a single, and I can't remember exactly where the crossover pipe went. Got my exhaust pipes tight. That went better than I thought. Figured the U-bolts on the clamps would be froze, but they actually came right loose. Backed them off a few turns, squirted some WD-40 on them. They tightened right up, so that worked out good. There's that. Where did I put the drain plug? Alright, I guess while I'm down here I'll grease the front axle real quick. And the other thing I want to do while I'm down here,
'cause I can't remember last time I did it, is check the oil on the transmission, which is that plug right there. I don't know if I sit you right here, maybe you can see. Might have to go get a socket for this thing. I can't really. Oh, there we go. I still might have to go get a socket. You can't really get a wrench on that. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, there's oil in there. It's not. Let's go straight in. Yep, it's right there at the bottom of the plug, so she's good to go. Alright, I checked the power steering fluid, that's good. Checked the antifreeze, that's good. The air cleaner I cleaned before we cut wheat, so it's going to be fine. Didn't bother checking the oil in the pig because we changed that when we put the new shift motor in, so that's good. Topped off the brake fluid, that's good. So all I got, well, not all I got left, I got one more thing I got to do, but got to dump the oil in it, so, because, you know, that's kind of important. Okay, she's full of oil, so the last thing I gotta do is this damn bracket is broke. And this thing's been a never-ending fight. It seems I break it once every year. And every year I say I'm gonna reinforce it, and every year it breaks when I need the damn truck, and I forget to fix it in out of season. Well, now it's broke out of season, so I can actually take the time to remember to fix it out of season. So we are gonna pop this guy off real quick. And this is not a factory, that's not a factory GM bracket. The whole reason it's there is this power steering pump. When we got this truck, the power steering pump bracket was broke and highly fabricable, bad. So it was basically junk. And believe it or not, as many of these trucks as are around, it's hard finding one, at least around here, with a 350 in it. And the power steering bracket on a 350 is different than a 366. But the 366 trucks are the easiest to find, at least around here. So we ended up finding a power steering pump bracket out of a school bus with a 366 in it. Well, we had to modify the bracket to fit a 350, which wasn't real hard. We made it look nice, but had to put this bracket in here to keep the pump from doing this. Well, it likes to break, so naturally bugger's not going to want to thread out there by hand. Are you done yet? So I'm going to do a little reinforcing here. So hopefully we solve this problem for good. Okay, so first thing I gotta do is make a plate with a slot in it to back this guy up so we can weld it and sandwich it to put a little bit more strength in that spot. So I've already got a piece of flat stock here, and I found an end mill that the way it's sharpened should hopefully let me punch the hole and mill the slot all in one shot without changing tools, so we shall see. Okay, now okay, I got it slotted. It stacks up good. So first things first, before I fix the original crack, we are going to get the plates welded together, and then I can take a die grinder and a cutoff wheel and slot that crack so I can get weld done in there, and then we'll weld the crack and square it back off. So alright, it's all welded together and back on, so hopefully having that extra meat in there will keep that from cracking again, because it's kind of annoying. You know what happens, because you'll be sitting in the truck and then all of a sudden there'll be a squeak start coming from the motor, and you get out and pop the hood and look at that, and sure as shit it's squeaking because you got the two halves rubbing next to each other on the crack, and I'm like, so anyhow, that should be everything I need to do to my truck. So I guess I will run this back up and put it in the barn, and we'll go on and get Dad's truck done. Probably ought to not leave that socket there either. All right, trying to get Dad's truck done here. It just needs an oil change, nothing. Oil change and grease, nothing fancy on this one. And those cables you see there are the PTO and hoist controls. On my truck, there's a PTO cable, and then the hoist is actually a steel rod, whereas this one they're both cables. You know, 366 here, she got a big old oil pan on her. I wish my truck had the 366, but if I remember right, I can't remember if the big block, I can't remember if the big block was optional in the C60 or not, or if you had to go up to a C65 like this truck before that you could option out a big block. Because I can't remember. The C-Series trucks, the engine options got funky. If I remember right, too, if you wanted to, you could order at least into the early 70s. I don't know how late they went, but you could order big block V6s in them, too. Well, like I say, I don't know how far that went into the 70s before it wasn't an option anymore. And then in the 60s, you could order them with a Toraflow in them, which that would be neat. It'd be neat to find one of those. Dad found one in a truck over in Illinois a few years back, and it would have been a cool one to buy, but at that point, I think, can't remember if we already had both these trucks, or if he hadn't bought this one yet. Because when Dad bought this truck, he had been looking for like a year, and he wanted a C-Series in the worst way, and he was actually looking older than this. And this one just kind of popped up right down the road, and the price was right, so we ended up buying this one, which it turned out to be a damn good truck, and I think he got for what it is, a damn good deal on it. So but the one he really wanted, and the one that I thought he was gonna buy, anybody that used to go to Rantoul, it probably hasn't been down there in, I don't think it's been down there for, well, I think the last time it was down there was the last time Dad went to a show, and Dad missed the last two. So it would have had to have been 3 shows ago, but up until that point, it was there every year. There was a fire engine red and white two-tone. What was it, a 65 or a 66? Chevy. Pretty sure that was a C60. Had independent front suspension. I mean, beautiful truck. If I remember right, it was a fire engine, and the guy converted it. It was a fire truck, and if I remember right, the guy bought it and converted it to a grain truck with a hoist. And he was gonna sell it to Dad because Dad had talked to him about it in past shows, and the guy said right to Dad, he said, I wouldn't sell it to just anybody, but he said, I've seen the equipment you bring down here, and I've seen the way you take care of it, and he said, if you're serious, he said, I'd sell it to you. And I can't remember what he told Dad. Can't remember if it was like 11 or 12,000. It had to have been more than that. It was a beautiful truck. Had 6 new tires on it, and full restoration on the truck. I mean, it was showroom, well, probably better than showroom beautiful. I bet that truck didn't look that good when it rolled out of GM and brand new. But anybody that has been to the previous Rantoul shows, at least up until 3 shows ago, probably remember seeing that truck, because it was always out by the shellers hauling corn away. And I thought sure as shit Dad was going to bring that truck home, and he never did. He should have, because that would have been a cool truck. But on the flip side, it's one of them deals where it was almost too good to use. Like, it would have been one of them trucks that you bring home and you haul a couple loads when it's dry, but it's not. It probably wouldn't have been one like what we use these for, where they just go out and haul every day, and that's what they do. Which is probably, I think, the biggest reason that Dad didn't jump on it, was he knew that we needed a user. which I still think he should have bought it and it could have just been his toy, but sometimes it's hard to get Dad to spend money on toys because all he does is work. Which, don't get me wrong, all I pretty much do is work, but the work that I do I consider playing anymore, so. Hell, even my day job that I work at I consider playing now because it's basically just farming. Alright, let that drip down. And I'll go ahead and give her a grease job while I'm waiting for it to do its thing. Okay, it's been sitting here draining. I got everything greased. Speaking of greasing, you know what really grinds my gears? When people grease a piece of equipment and they don't go around with a paper towel or a rag and clean the grease zerks off after they're done. So they've all got big balls of grease and shit. Not that that was on this truck, but the thought just came to mind. Especially on some other equipment I work on that comes from people that are like that. Clean your grease zerks off. Be tidy. It makes it more pleasant to service the next time. Before anybody says anything, I'm pre-filling the filters and I'm oiling the O-rings. You just can't see it because I do it off camera. You just didn't see it because I'm doing it off camera. Okay, where did the O-ring touch? Right there. I need a little bit more to get my 3/4 of a turn. There. Ow. Popped my elbow. Okay, that's tight. We can put the drain plug back in. Okay, now she's ready for oil. Hands down, the biggest drawback to this truck is the damn alligator hood. It makes just about anything you got to do to the engine a pain in the ass because you got to do it off of a ladder. And then the motor's far enough down in the, or the engine's far enough down in the engine bay that you're almost doubled over yourself trying to reach down to it. So, but when this truck was new, this hood was cheaper than the fiberglass tip-up hood like what my truck's got. So and try telling a farmer when he's buying a grain truck to spending a few extra dollars on a tip-up hood makes it easier to work on. He's not going to spend the extra few dollars. For the most part. At least back then. Alright, let's see where that puts us. Perfect. Have to fire it up and finish filling the oil filter, but And one of the oddities on this truck, if it'll come loose, there we go, is that it has an oil bath air cleaner, which is really odd for 1976, but that's what it's got. Come on out of there. You darn idiot. There we go. Doesn't sit very well either. Nor does it come apart very easy. But it's just, I say just like one on a tractor, other than being shaped different, but this would be your main can with the wire mesh in it that's supposed to trap everything. And then this would be the oil cup that you normally would drop off the bottom and refill with oil. And there is some floaties in there, so it's due for a change. I'm going to take that up and wash it out in the parts tank. And then once you got it cleaned out and empty, it's actually easier to refill it on the truck. Just like an oil cup on a tractor, you got your fill line there, and yeah, that pretty much is what it is. Put the top back on and you're good to go. Alright, everything's checked. We just gotta fire her up and let the engine oil do its thing real quick so we can double check it. So
squeaky. All right, she took about another half quart, but other than that, I've checked everything else on it that needs checking. So I did check the transmission in this too, and it was also good. So, oh, probably gotta put my fill cap back on. That wouldn't be good to leave that off now, would it? So, I guess that part of the fall preparation is done. I was surprised my seals for my corn head showed up earlier today, so we'll be able to jump back on that tomorrow and get it done. And then I just got two little putting shovels on the chisel plow, and which I got to go get bolts for that because I don't think I got bolts. And changing, I got some bad seed tubes on the drill, which I've already got those around. I just got to get, I'm going to order new clamps because the ones that are on it are not the right size. So I got to get those from McMaster Carr. And the carb kit on the 66, which is also up there in the box with those seals. I got that from Mabaugh too. So, yeah. I think we're good. So I guess that's it for this one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.